have an expiration date. You have to keep working on it. You can't grow and continue to live the life of a trash person. It's just not going to work. I don't know where I would be without God. I'm being honest. Like, yeah, I curse a lot, but I don't know where I would be without God. I truly get it. I mean, I empathize with you. I just feel like I wouldn't have done it that way. Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of I Don't Know Who This Is For. And I'm so glad that you all are sharing your community with me. I'm sharing my community with you. Thank you so much for helping me grow because, baby, we need to grow this thing, okay? Y'all already know how I feel about Jesus, so let's go ahead and pray, and then we're going to get right into it. Father God, in the name of Jesus, I thank you so much for today. God, I thank you so much for allowing us to place our feet on solid ground. God, I thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you for allowing me to be a vessel. God, I thank you so much for healing, growth, transformation, vulnerability, and accountability. God, I thank you for all of these things. It is in your mighty name we pray. Amen. Y'all, I'm so excited. I am so excited. I have the one, the only, the author of all authors, baby. You've seen her in Essence. You have seen her on the stages of all of the major publication book conventions. Do not play with her. I have Lillian.
I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy you are here.
I'm happy to be here.
The last time we saw each other was when I looked horrible at that convention when we had our books.
At CBC?
CBC.
It could not have been that long ago.
That was the last time we shared space.
Saw each okay.
Right? That was
no,
it wasn't.
Bowie. We did the event at Bowie.
What event at Bowie? I don't remember.
We did the event at Bowie.
Oh, yes. But we didn't really get...
No, we didn't really get...
We did the event and then we hit it. We didn't really talk
we didn't get to
or
chat.
engage or anything. So the only time we really... that was the last time we really engaged. I mean, we've had phone conversations and stuff. We checking on you and seeing how you were doing and stuff. But nothing really serious since
I know.
then.
And that's been a while.
That's been a long time. The last time, that was when you first came out with 10 Dates Later.
It was 2017.
10 Dates Later. I remember when I got that book. That was, I want to read it again. I need to read it again. I read that book, I think, in 2 hours.
That's so funny.
It was so good. It was so captivating. You literally felt like you were there. And if you know you can hear you saying certain things in the book, which makes it even more fucking funny, hilarious. The things, and it's so relatable to women. You know what I'm saying? So let me just tell you, one of the reasons why I wanted you here, one is to see, how you were doing and to just, kick it with you. But another reason was because I asked a question to my people in my community, what do y'all want to hear? What type of topics y'all want to talk about? Give me some things. And a lot of women, you'd be surprised, were I need hope after divorce.
Okay.
And I wanted somebody that could talk about it, right? But could bring humor to it so that it doesn't feel as heavy, because it's already really heavy. It's already a really heavy thing. Somebody walking around with no hope is extremely heavy. And so I wanted it to not to say that your situation is laughable, but the way you speak about your things, you speak about it from a place you feel like you've healed, and it's also that shit is funny. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I wanted you on. So tell the people who you are and what you do so they'll know, because I know who you are and what you do, but just tell the people who you are and what you do.
Okay, so I'm Lillian Prince. I am the author of 10 Dates Later, which is about, 10 short stories of awful dates that I went on. The irony of the book is that the end of the book was my happily ever after, where I share how I got married and all these things. And shortly after the book, I was doing a lot of segments, news segments and radio appearances talking about, giving off marriage tips now. So now I'm in a new space. First it was dating, now I'm in this new space, and I'm the expert on long distance relationships, right? And I'm, sharing all of these things, and 2 years later I was filing for divorce. And so I found myself in a space of there was some shame, there was some guilt, there was a lot of embarrassment. Because how can I call myself an expert? I'm telling you how to survive this, and I'm not taking any of my own advice. I've created this image that looks so good online. I've been able to curate these pictures and create this world that isn't the real reality, right? And now everyone is going to know. And now what do I do, right? I don't want to. I'm not a celebrity. I don't think I have to make an announcement, but like, I feel like I owe people something, right? Because that's the platform that I created. I created this platform for myself to give advice and to, share these tips. And now I feel like almost like a fraud. Like, now what do I do? You know what I'm saying? But after going through the process, I know that anything that I shared, anything that I said in that moment, in that space, it always came from a genuine place.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Things changed. My circumstances changed. And so I wanted to be honest about it. And that's what I did. So I wrote the article.
Yeah.
I wrote the article that was in essence.
Before you wrote the article,
okay.
I remember us having a conversation. And I remember me calling you, and you told me about you getting a divorce. And you were like, I failed. I never forget. Do you remember that conversation we had?
This sounds familiar. And
I was like, you was like, what do I do? I have to tell people, but I'm not ready to tell them right now. And I said, listen, you don't really owe anybody anything.
Right.
But if you feel like you have created a space of transparency in your life for these people and you've opened yourself up, then you do it in a way that it's going to feel good for you. And I remember that conversation, and you were in shambles. You were more in shambles about the people than the situation.
Yes.
You were more in shambles, like you failed the people more so than how you felt about yourself. And I was like, you gotta talk about
because I think, going into marriage, and I think this is probably all couples, when you are in that like super happy space and you are about to embark on this new journey, so you say things like divorce is not an option.
Yeah.
So ridiculous. That is the most ridiculous thing to me. And not to take anything away from marriage, right? Not to even say like everybody can run out here and get a divorce, but the truth is, like, divorce is always an option. Whether you want to exercise that option, that's totally up to you. But when I have conversations with people, they're like, divorce is not an option. I'm like, no, I can take you right down to Upper Marlboro now, and I can show you. I know the room to go in. Like, we can all go and get one, but that's not an option that you want to exercise, and that's completely fair. My issue with this statement is, like, I feel like when I used to say it, I meant it, right? Like, I'm going into this marriage and we are going to fight through whatever, and we're going to be able to get through whatever. And that works if both people are on the same page.
Yeah.
It feels almost manipulative if the other person is now going to test your boundaries because of your reverence for marriage. So I can do what I want. She ain't going nowhere because divorce is not.
The one who's saying divorce.
I'm the person that's saying this, right?
Yeah.
And so I can even remember in like probably like the last counseling session, and he was kind of like, well, we said divorce is not an option. So and I was like, oh, yeah, no. So
I said that.
About that.
Yeah.
I was kidding.
Yeah.
It's still on the table.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I just had to rebuild. I had to like let go of like the shame.
Yeah.
I had to let go of the guilt. And so that's when the article came in, because so many women reached out to me after that Essence article came out, just, speaking about different situations and how they had found themselves there. But it was really and honestly and truly it was really a love letter to myself.
Yeah,
right? I was like,
so good.
I was forgiving myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, also letting the world know, like, I'm not ashamed about this anymore. I'm not embarrassed by this. This does not define me. This does not mean that I'm not worthy of love. This does not mean that I can't start over. Yeah. So it was just all of those things, and like really just like digging into like how I viewed marriage. You know what I mean? From a very young girl growing up in church, where like divorce is like up there with murder, and you kind of like, that seems off.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean, it was just it was. I will say that the article was just extremely liberating.
When I read the article, I was blown away. The reason I was blown away is because you've always been, even though you had 10 Dates Later and you were very transparent and vulnerable in there, you were still very private about certain parts of your life. And so when I read the article, I was like, shit, this is dope. Like, it was good. And you can feel healing all through the article. You can feel healing all through the article. I'm going to put the link of the article in the description so that you all can read it. You need to go and read it. It's really, really good. There was a part in the article where you said you knew that you were heading for, like, these are not your exact words, but you knew that the marriage wasn't going to last. Like, you said 5 business days or a business day.
We didn't, that Monday.
One business day. I don't need to know the details of it, but how did you feel that? Like, what did that feeling come from? Was it a gut feeling? Was it in your mind? Like, what was it? Because I think there are a lot of women that are in relationships that feel that this is not right, and they still stay because they suppress the feeling, or they don't know where the feeling is coming from. And I think it goes two ways. So some of them have the feeling because it's a real thing, and then some of them have the feeling because they probably didn't get their way in a relationship.
Okay.
Is that where was your feeling coming from? A place of what?
So that actual feeling, that Monday after we got married, was a specific situation.
Yeah.
And let me also say, like, even in the article, and like anytime I speak about my first marriage, it is never to bash him.
No, absolutely not.
And that is never my intent. It's not
Absolutely
to, like,
not.
I can only speak on my experience. And so I don't like to do, like, specific details of certain things. But I will say there was a specific situation the Monday after we got married. And I remember saying to myself, like, oh, we're going to get a divorce one day. And it was because of, I'm trying to, without saying too much, I feel like there was a situation where he knew that I was embarrassed about, like he had said something that kind of like threw me off, right? And it was in that moment when he had an opportunity to be like, oh, wait, no, that's not what I meant, because we were in the presence of someone else. And so he had an opportunity to just kind of be like, oh, no, that's not what I meant, or wait, I didn't offend you, did I? And instead, it was sort of like, yeah. So, I mean, you mad, but, like, that's just...
So you immediately just felt like you didn't feel considered or seen?
I didn't feel considered, but I feel like, there's a phrase I feel like people say, like, it's not always the situation, it's the principle. So it was a very... In that moment, it may have been viewed as, like, that's super small, Lil. Like, but to me, it spoke to... how he was going to handle me and how he was going to respect my feelings. And it was like, if you know that you've offended me, the least you can do is apologize. And if you don't, and this is day 1 of the marriage, I can't imagine
what day 6 is going to be like.
What day 6 is going to look like.
Day 365.
Yeah, and so... I was very honest about that. Like, and that was a true feeling. Like, I remember it. I mean, I can still remember where we were, like, and I'm being like, oh yeah. And I didn't think, like, in that moment I needed to go file or anything like that, but it was just an indication. It was
a red flag.
It was, yes, and it was a clear indication of what was about to come.
Let me say this to you so that you can feel even more comfortable. I've created this space to be a safe space, right? I've also created this space for people to speak about things so that they can find some level of healing, even if it's 2% healing, right? I don't believe in people going on podcasts and speaking ill on anybody, regardless of what it is. You can speak about your situation, a feeling, or something that you have done. But I didn't bring you here to bash him.
Oh yeah, of course not.
So I just wanted to make that very clear, because I brought you here because you have a voice. You've always had a voice. You have a story. You have a plethora of stories that can help to heal a lot of women, and you give women hope with your stories, right? And I think the reason I'm asking you certain questions is so that women can see that they are not alone and that they're not crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Because to hear one business day after you got married, you feel like this isn't going to work, may resonate with way more people than we know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, it was one business day in.
Yeah.
But it was 2 years later.
Yeah.
When it actually happened.
Right.
And I realized about myself, like, I really like routine. Mm-hmm. I like what's familiar. I don't like, even, you know, when I used to have to drive to work, I don't even fool with Waze. Because y'all not about to send me a whole bunch of this. Gonna give me, I don't like this. You about to send me through a shootout to make this 8 o'clock meeting. I don't need that. It gives me anxiety. So it's like, when I was mentally there, when I was like, okay, I'm filing for divorce, it was so out of my comfort zone, right? Because now I'm changing everything. Like, oh my God, now what am I going to do? You know, that clock I had put myself on in my 20s, everybody knows about the clock. You got to be married before you're 30. Because apparently when you turn 30,
nobody wants
something happens at 30. Yeah, like, I don't know what it is, but that 30 number, you wasn't married by 30? Oh, no. Something not right. So it was like, so I think I was like 32 when I got married. And so I can say, and if I want to be completely honest with myself, there were red flags before I got married. But I wanted to be married so bad.
Oh gosh, Lil.
There was nothing someone could have come to me and said. No, I wanted to get married. That was the pinnacle. That was the Mount Rushmore. You married.
Shit.
It's not good. It's a really unfortunate, and I don't know about this new generation because they're a little bit different, but I can certainly say in my 20s, dating, like, all I wanted was to be married. Wow. More than a career, more than it was going to validate me anyway. Someone chose me. You know what I'm saying? And I think I realized, like, growing up, my sister's 10 years my senior, and she wasn't married yet either. So now, kind of like watching that, it was like, it almost seemed like, is this even attainable? Like, marriage, how do you get it? How do you get that? Like, I gotta get a ring. We got to, and is it even possible? My sister's not married, but I mean, okay, I'ma just, you know, and so dating everybody in your 20s, hoping, girl, you don't even like half these men, and you just want to get married. And so, when I realized, like, at 32 getting married, so I didn't already miss 30. I'm already 2 years late, right?
You feel like you are.
I am so behind. I'm supposed to be on baby number 2 by now. So imagine all of that rush, all of that angst, right? I did it. I'm married. I did it, y'all. I'm married.
Yeah.
And now 2 years later, I got to start over.
Shit. And you had a really nice wedding.
I did.
A really nice wedding.
I did. It was a beautiful wedding.
It was a wedding that said, listen, I may be 2 years late, but bitch, I've arrived.
I have arrived. Yeah, it was. And I think that was another piece of the relationship. Everything about it, like optics wise, just looked so good. We traveling, we doing all this fly stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, so all of that played into it. But and now at 35, I'm about to get divorced. 35, I don't have any kids. I want to be a mother more than I want to be anything. I'm about to get divorced, and because of the negative connotation that I've grown up with, now I feel like I got this huge X on my back, right? Because I've been married, so now I feel washed, I'm used, just all of these things. So just think, like, all of that pressure, all of that to get there, and now you got to start over at 35. I felt crazy.
Did you go to therapy?
Let me think. No, I probably didn't.
You just basically went with your thoughts and your narratives that you were washed and that you had an ex over you and that your time was basically up.
Yes. I don't think I went to therapy after my divorce. I didn't feel like I needed it. And maybe I did. Maybe that would have helped with some of that. Maybe that would have sped the process along. But I will say for my situation, because it was long distance, so I do like, women who I meet who are like, about to file for divorce, if they file for divorce, they have a much different sort of circumstance, right? So their day in, day out is about to change a lot, right? Like, I mean, even simple things from like, okay, now you got to take the trash out. If you have children, you have to like, we got to figure this out. If he's going to date somebody and like all of these things, all of these dynamics change. For me, I didn't have that. So there really wasn't like this transition for me that I feel like a lot of women go. So I was blessed in that way, I guess.
The only thing to change for you is you started remodeling your kitchen.
That was it. I didn't have to do a thing. Seriously, I didn't have to do a thing. We didn't have any children. We didn't have any. That was my home. We didn't have any property together. It was nothing.
Yeah.
And so I was able to just like, it was just a very easy, so I don't have that same experience. So I do like empathize with women, and I try to, because I never want to have a conversation with a woman and I'm like, oh girl, it's too easy. Girl, you'll be fine. No, I don't do that.
I think that's unrealistic. Like, your whole life changes.
Your whole life changes.
Even in the long distance, your life changes, because you no longer can say you're a wife, and that's what you've been longing for.
And that's what I wanted.
That's what you wanted.
That's what I wanted.
So it still changes, right?
It does.
It still changes the whole thing. So let me ask you this, because you and I are totally different in that way. I never wanted to be married. I never wanted to be married. It wasn't a thing for me.
Okay.
I didn't care about having kids. That wasn't a thing for me. I was very consumed in working and all of that stuff and building on my business. And when I became married, when I met Black, I just knew immediately, oh my God, I have to be married to him.
Okay.
And so you said earlier that divorce is not an option. I feel like that. And I think the reason I feel like that is because Black is my fucking dog. Like, I don't play about him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't imagine myself in a situation or living, like, I make myself happy, right? I don't need Black to make me happy. However, when I'm with Black, he provides a level of happiness and security and protection and care and fun and just everything that I have never experienced. And I know that the way he offers that to me is that he was meant for me, because the way he do it is effortless.
Okay.
There is no thought behind it. It is just him just serving me in the way that I feel like God has designed him to. I really feel that we are so soulfully connected and spiritually connected.
Okay.
And so for me, divorce is not an option, right? When it comes to my marriage.
Yes, for you. Yes.
But on the flip side of that, there are people that I do believe that they do need to look into it being an option. And I'm not even playing.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about this.
Okay.
Let's talk about how you felt, because you said that you were like, oh my God, it's 35. I'm 35 now. What am I going to do? How did you approach dating again? Did you do it like 10 dates later? How did you like get back out there?
So I had a whole new perspective and plan. So I no longer wanted to be married.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. So I was just dating probably the way I should have dated in my 20s.
Okay.
Just for fun. Yeah. Just to meet people. Let's just go out. Like, it was, there was no pressure. I had finally taken all of the pressure off of myself, and I was just open to meeting people.
Yeah.
And I think I did want, and I was very clear, like, that I wanted to have a baby. And it was like, you know, again, growing up in a Christian household, I'm doing this all out of whack. Yeah. But I felt like I tried to do this the right way. I tried. I gave it my all. Okay, and now back to this clock. I really want to have a baby. And so I went out with a few people, you know, before Reggie and I met. And at the time, his daughter, she was 12, I think. And I remember telling him, like, I don't want to get married. I do want to have a baby. And he was like, but my daughter, like, she 12. Like, I don't want.
That's starting all over.
He was like, man, these car seats. I was like, I'll handle the car seats.
Exactly.
And he was like, he was always kind of like, I don't know. And I was just like, and that is completely fine. You and I we can't do this though, because I know what I want. Like, I was very like open and honest. Like, this is what I want. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, he loved me enough. He wanted me enough that, you know, when we became like official, we were trying. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
we weren't like not trying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I got pregnant quick. Like, I remember I went to my doctor for sinuses or something. And I remember telling my doctor, like, this is the biggest I have ever been.
For real.
Like, I was like, I need to. He was like, oh, you probably pregnant. And I was like, no, I'm not. And he was like, nah, I see it all in your face. You probably need to.
This is what the doctor's saying?
Being very ridiculous.
Exactly.
And I'm like, sir, no, you don't.
My face is thin and slim.
Don't do this. But that's the type of relationship that we have. So I remember he was like, well, go take a blood test. Because I remember saying, like, my cycle just came on. Like, I just had, and he was like, yeah, nah. And even when I went back to give my blood, I remember I was going to tell the girl, like, girl, I'm not doing this. I'm about to go home. Because first of all, I don't like needles. So this was very unnecessary. And they were like, well, you can call tomorrow to get the results. This was a Friday afternoon. I guess they were going to be there Saturday morning. And I didn't call because I really
think that you were pregnant.
I really didn't. Like, I didn't even like talk to my girlfriends about it. It wasn't even, I didn't mention it to Reggie, none of it. And I went to work, and that Wednesday I saw the doctor's office calling me. And I was,
so wait, you did the blood test?
I did the blood test. I went ahead and did the blood test, but I didn't call the next day to get the results or anything.
Because you're not thinking you're pregnant.
I'm not pregnant. Look at my stomach. I'm not pregnant. Because obviously your stomach grows day one. But I was like, I'm not pregnant. And I will never forget, it was a Wednesday. It was February 26th. I was like, and I was the last person in the office. The phone rang, and the lady was like, you know, Dr. Major wants to talk to you. And he got on the phone. He was like, Prince, you know you're pregnant, right?
Oh my God, what a
He's so ridiculous. Shout out to Dr. Major. He is so ridiculous. And I remember I dropped my papers. Like, I was holding something, and I was at work, and I remember, you know, silly, looking at my belly, you know. I was like, what? And I was like, I was in love, like, that moment.
You loved it.
Oh my God. And then I know it was February 26th because February 28th is my dad, rest in peace. That's his birthday. But my sister's wedding anniversary.
It's Royal's birthday.
Really?
Yes.
That's so sweet.
Yes.
That's my dad's birthday, and that is my sister and my brother-in-law's wedding anniversary.
Okay.
And every year, and it's my stepfather's birthday.
Wow.
Outrageous, right? I'm like, Ma, you really enjoy Pisces, don't you? Okay, girl. So, and it's so funny because every year they normally go out of town. They always take a trip for whatever reason. And I think maybe it was COVID. Maybe it was like little sprinkles of COVID had just kicked off. Yeah. It was.
Yeah, because
and I'm thinking,
this was 2020, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
So I'm thinking I'm just trying to remember, like, why didn't they take a trip? But anyway, we all planned to go to dinner on Friday. And so that's when I told my family that I was pregnant.
I remember you posted the announcement and stuff.
We have been RJ crazy.
I know. He's so cute. He is so cute.
Welcome to Content Incubator HQ, a creative's paradise. Content Incubator HQ is a content creation studio located in Atlanta, Maryland. Are you ready to elevate your content through storytelling? Learn more about our studio amenities and membership packages at contentincubatorhq.com. Follow us on all social platforms. We can't wait to host you soon. And remember, you are the content.
So you had RJ, you got pregnant. This is, how old are you at this point? You were
I'm 36.
36. So just a year after the divorce, you are now pregnant with RJ. Because now marriage is not really at the forefront. It's just, I want to be a mom. And now you're headed towards being a mom. You're pregnant now. How was the relationship with you and Reggie? Like, at this point, did you feel like, oh, I need to be married now since we're about to have a baby?
I
Like,
didn't.
what was your thought process then?
I didn't. I still, it wasn't completely off the table.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to get married just because I was pregnant.
Right.
I didn't want to do that again. Not again, because I hadn't done it before. But
I
didn't want to put any pressure on me. Like, I wanted, if we were going to get married, it would need to be because we loved each other and this was a good partnership and that we enjoyed each other and that at the end of the day, I still like you. Right. I found myself in my first marriage, like, I do not like him.
Yeah.
At all. And I was like, that is more important to me because I think love, we're all commanded to love. Like, you have to love, you got to love your enemy.
Yeah.
Right? But like, yeah, you do. But you don't have to like them. Yeah. You don't have to hang out with them. You don't have to spend time with them.
You don't have to trust them.
Yeah. But I wanted to be with somebody that I liked, that I genuinely liked.
Yeah.
And so, I was still kind of adamant, like, nah, we don't have to get married but just because I'm pregnant. And also, like, we're not young. We're not spring chickens. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's kind of the notion when you're like young. But it's like, okay, I'm 35. Yeah. You are 19 years my senior. Yeah. We don't have to do this. You know what I mean? Like, we can figure this out. We're mature enough that if we just end up co-parenting, that's fine too.
Your whole mindset changed.
It did.
Like, it changed.
It did
tremendously.
It was one of those things, I think, like, and I can only compare it to, and I hate this, but like, like when you want to have sex almost, right? And like, even when you're in the act, like, you can't even think straight. Yeah. Right? Yeah. You'll promise anything. And it's like the moment you release and you come back down, and you kind of like, wait, what? Ugh. Wait. Yeah. This is weird.
I'm not fucking with you.
So why are you here? But, and I felt like that's what it was. It was like all of this just angst and pressure. This was my whole 20s. And it was like, once I like got it out of my system, I got this one marriage down, I'm done with it. I no longer, it was just not a priority.
Yeah, that wasn't your desire anymore.
It wasn't.
Feel like you, to be honest, and this may be controversial, but I feel like spiritually and mentally you matured and you were able to develop your own sense of what marriage looks like for you, what your life looks like for you. Because a lot of times, and this is not to discredit like our parents or upbringing, a lot of times we have to unlearn some of the things that they taught us because they were doing the best that they could with what they had.
And it was a different time.
It was a much different time. And those same values and things that they had and they wanted us to have doesn't apply to our lifestyles that we live. Because, I mean, look at your situation. You were on an adrenaline rush in your 20s. Like, I gotta make it before 30. I gotta make it before 30. I gotta get married. But what if you took a step back? What if that's not what you really
what if I even wanted that?
Because look how easily, like how quick you switched. Yeah. Like, I'm good. Like, you weren't thinking about getting married before you had, you like, look, now I just want to be a mom.
I just want to be a mom.
I want to be a mom. And whatever happens, it happens. And but that normally that takes people some time to develop that change in how they see their life and how they want their life to go. That shit happened for you in a year.
Yeah. I mean, but again, I think it was also just it just wasn't a great marriage. Yeah. So it was kind of like, it was like a letdown almost. Like all of these things, this pedestal that I put marriage on, what I thought it was going to be, what I thought it was going to feel like and look like, I didn't get any of that.
I also feel like, Lil, that you probably just ignored a lot because you said that you saw red flags before you got married to him. You know what I'm saying? So I think their idea of what it looks like to everybody else, which is really what it led. Yeah. Your real feelings possibly didn't lead because when we see red flags, we see them motherfuckers. We do. But we suppress them. We like, nah, I got a plan. And my plan, everybody knows my plan. So if I rear off, then how does that make me look? Right. It's no longer for real about what I really want and what I really feel. You know what I'm saying? And so, okay, so now you're pregnant. And now you're like, all right, whatever, we'll see. So how did that happen? How did that happen, honey? Because it's a beautiful ring.
Thank you. He did good.
He did really good.
we were together the whole time after I had RJ, and he's such an amazing dad. That was one of the first things that I loved about him, was like how good he was with his daughter. So I knew, if we were to have a child, that he would be good to our baby.
Yes.
And we just stayed together, and it just worked. And I often felt more married, just being with him. And we weren't married, but just like having him here, just being involved in the day-to-day, like just dealing with just normal married stuff. Who gonna do the dishes? Why you didn't pick your side? You know what I'm saying? Just all of that. And so, time went on, and it was kind of like, we gonna be together. I love you. I like you. I still like you. I still look forward to talking to you. I still look forward to hearing about your day. Just all these things. And so we started talking about marriage. And I was like, and he was like, well, do you want to do a wedding? And I was like, I didn't. I was like, I don't want to do a big anything. I was like, I just want to do something small, intimate, our close friends. I don't even want to tell people that we get married. Like, let's just get married. Just pop out and get married. That's what we did, and it was perfect.
It was beautiful.
It was perfect. Beautiful. It was exactly what I wanted. Yeah. It was exactly what I wanted. Yeah.
You didn't want anything resembling what you did before, and it did not. None of it did. None of it resembled it. So speaking of that, what do you feel like you and your husband were friends first before y'all like decided that you're gonna be my life partner? Like the communication and everything, was it totally different?
Yeah, it was totally different. I mean, just being here, right? So just being present, and then just going through stuff and figuring it out together, and feeling like I had a partner. I never felt like I had a partner. So yeah, I knew, like, I wanted this to work. Like, if we were going to do it, like, I want this to work. I want this to be real. I want this to be, a safe space for us. I want, I wanted to create that for us. And he wanted it just as bad as I did. And I think that was the biggest part of it. Like we had created this beautiful family. You know what I mean? Like, it started off with me just wanting a baby, and now we have this like beautiful family. And we just work hard together.
This looks nothing like what you imagined, right? You imagined getting married, then having a baby, and boom. But it flipped. You got into dating a guy, to y'all friends, to look, I want a baby now. Now you're pregnant, and now you are married, right? So now you're married. You have a baby, and you also have a bonus daughter. And so this looks totally different from your original plan. What would you say to someone who, because there are, and I'm getting emotional, to someone who has lost all hope and feel like they are trapped in a marriage, they will never find someone, because there are women that are in marriages and the men are telling them, you'll never find anybody if you leave me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not just talking about domestic stuff. I'm just talking about manipulative, narcissistic stuff. What do you feel like you can offer to that woman if she came in here and she was just like, I know you're not a psychic, but is it possible? What can I do?
You can just take that first step.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. I think a lot of times we get overwhelmed by the big picture of what we want it to look like, right? So you don't think about those steps that get you there. I mean, and it starts with just doing something that makes you happy outside, especially outside of him. I think a lot of women, their whole identity is being someone's wife. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you can't even ask them a question without them. You're like, what time is it? Let me ask him. he just got a new watch. He got a new watch? Girl, your watch work. You know what I mean? Yes. And I think it's important for women to, have their own identity. I'm proud to be Reggie's wife. I love being Reggie's wife. I love when I'm out and somebody says, you Reggie? Yes, I am, actually. But I also love being RJ's mom. I love being Brooke's bonus mom. I love being a really good girlfriend to my friends. I love to write. There are just so many things outside of him that I still love, that I still enjoy. And it just, I feel like women, once they get so wrapped up in just making him happy, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you would feel like you have no hope because you haven't done anything outside of him.
I think a lot of women look at marriage as a death sentence, meaning they die and they immediately become this person's wife, and that's it.
What you want to eat? Well, let me see what he like.
Yeah, it's you have no thought outside of this marriage.
Yeah.
And I can attest to that because I felt myself almost getting that, but my personality is too big to allow that to happen, because if that happens for me, it's over. Because now I'm consumed. I can't create anymore. I can't be the voice. I can't live my purpose. I can't do any of those things because now I'm just Black's wife. And it's easy to let yourself die and just become someone's wife when you have high hopes or high admirations of being married. Like, you were thinking,
and so
I want to be married.
You think that's just being a good wife.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I think when it happens, women aren't doing it to give up their identity, but you think this is what entails being a good wife. I gotta make sure he's good and make sure, he has what he wants and all these things. It's like, but what do you need? And what's gonna fill you up? You know what I mean? So
there's a lot of women out here on empty because their man is full to the top. They full to the top with so much in the reserve because you have absolutely
given
nothing.
Them everything.
Absolutely nothing. And it's so important to realize how dope you are. Like, I just went on a social media fast, and I talk about this a lot on the podcast, but I just went on a social media fast, and it's just a spiritual fast. And I needed to remember who I am and what I'm growing into be, right? And how dope I am, and being with myself. Like, how many women out there can really say that they have sat with themselves, just them, no kids, no man, no girlfriend, just yourself, and enjoyed yourself? Like, I'm dope as shit. You know what I'm saying? I may say something out, may have a thought, and then that shit be funny as shit. Like, damn, I'm funny as shit too. You know what I'm saying? Like, or you cook yourself a meal and you give yourself a pat on the back because I really did this. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, especially with today, a lot of women, and I'm speaking from women just talking to me, women are so consumed in how people view them, and because they have a husband, now they're accomplished. Now I've done something.
Now they're validated.
Now I'm validated. But that also speaks to, and this is not to say you, but that also speaks to a lot of women who have trauma from feeling abandoned and not seen and not heard and overlooked. And so now you have this husband who's committed his life to you. So now
that got to mean something.
I'm straight. But that's not all it is. And so the hope in it comes from, like you said, taking that first step and taking it day by day and knowing who the fuck you are. Like, pop out, sis. Like, pop out. You are not just somebody's wife. You do not have to stay in a situation that does not serve you.
Yeah.
It does not serve you. Stop letting, and I'm going to say this, stop letting the church, people in the church, make you feel like you are inadequate, that you don't matter because you have to say, I'm leaving this marriage. A lot of women that did not leave their marriage back then was in that marriage with another woman and her kids too. And that's just, and they opted to stay. They stayed because he made
that was
the money.
viewed as better than divorce.
Yeah. You're successful. You stay with this man. He's making all the money. What are you going to do if you leave this marriage? It's a new day. Women are killing it in the workplace. Killing it in entrepreneurship. You no longer have to have a man to validate that you are successful, that you are happy, that you are whole, that you have peace. It's just not, it's not necessary. So what advice would you give to women? Because there are a lot of women that say, I don't want to deal with nobody that got kids. Yes. Like you would not believe I mean, I understand it to a point, but if you've never done it, how do you say I'm not going to do this?
Well, for me, Reggie was actually the first person I dealt with seriously that had kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking of my sister, who was a single parent for a while, with my nieces, and I always, was always concerned about who she was going to end up with and how they would treat my nieces. So there was never an issue with me, with him having a daughter. And I knew that I was going to love her and get to know her and try to bond with her as much as I could. Obviously, I was nervous. She was 12. You know what I mean? She's a daddy's girl. I'm like, she could come here and absolutely hate me.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so I remember thinking, okay, if she doesn't like me, I have nieces and nephews who are about the same age. I'm like, I know she won't like them.
Yes, right?
Like,
they can soften the blow.
They so cool. I know she gonna like them. And it's like, you can't like them and hate me.
Exactly.
So I was like, if need be, I'm gonna have to pull out the big guns. Y'all gotta come to Aunt Shonda's house.
Yes.
Okay, y'all gotta get her to like me. But it was fine. I mean, she's a super respectful girl. So we never had that sort of hello, like she ain't give me none of that. I ain't never had no, and I think that's a testament to not only her dad but to her mom.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The space that they were in. And I'm so grateful for that. Like I always say that I hit the jackpot when it comes to bonus daughters. And I'm also, very realistic. And I, when I met her and even just trying to bond with her, I understood, she's a daddy's girl, but she's also a mama's girl. You know what I'm saying? And so even with trying to build that relationship, I would never want to overstep. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to compete. I'm not trying to be the mom. I'm not trying to compete. I want to add to this beautiful dynamic that y'all already have. And I will love and support her in whatever way she will allow me to. But I was never trying to be we can go get your prom dress. Girl, no. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that gets people tricky. It gets tricky, and I think you don't respect or empathize with the other people in this dynamic. You know what I'm saying? So we've never had that issue. Luckily for me, she loves me. I love her. I love her mom. So you know what I mean? And it's just a very easy going. Yeah, it's such a blessing.
That's so good. God looked out for you. He made sure that you were straight. He made sure that you wouldn't regret giving that type of life another chance, right? And I'm so grateful. Seeing and hearing your story is miraculous, and it's just showing how God works, right? And also showing how God shows you who you are, and that what you thought you wanted, that's not what I have for you, regardless of what your earth mom wanted you to have. I'm not saying this to say that our parents, I keep saying this, that our parents' way was the wrong way. I'm just saying that we still have our own destiny, regardless of what the values and the morals were that our parents or our grandparents or aunts and uncles, whoever had. We still have our own lives that we have to live.
That's something I even put in the article where I said, even now I recognize that there's something that I am teaching RJ, that I'm instilling in him. That he is going to wake up one day and might be like, that don't work for me, Mom. You know what I'm saying? I know you and Dad did it this way, but I see it a totally different way, and I'm going to respect that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I'm doing what works for me and what makes me happy, and my prayer is that he'll do the same. You know what I'm saying? But all I can do is, one, always keep the lines of communication open, but also show him healthy love and what that looks like, and this dynamic between even the dynamic between me and his sister, because I know as he gets older he's going to try to understand, mommy, you not her mom. What's up, Dad? So just all of these things, but just always that he is surrounded by love, that he feels love, and that he has true examples of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's so good. That's so good. That reminded me of Royal telling me the other day. She was like, Mama, Gabby is so blessed. She has 2 dads, right? And for her to understand that means a lot, because she see that it's a healthy relationship with her dad and I, and it's a healthy relationship with her dad, Gabby's dad, and her mom. You know what I'm saying? And to show them, it's very important that our kids understand the dynamics of relationships and what they mean. You know what I'm saying? Like how we present these relationships to them matter, no matter how young they are, because they are watching.
For sure.
Whether we know it or not, these kids are watching and they are into it.
Yeah.
When Royal said that, I'm like, because we never talked about it with her.
Right.
Never. We just say she knows that Gabby goes to her dad's on the weekend and then she comes back. But we've never had that conversation with her, so they're definitely watching. How did your friends feel when you said that you were pregnant and when you were getting married? How did they feel? Because I know that was like a shock.
They
right?
were so excited when I told them that I was pregnant. It's so funny. I remember one girlfriend in particular, my girlfriend Shanika. We had talked a few days before, and she was asking, like, so how things going with you and Reggie? Y'all still, and she was like, well, do you guys want to have kids? And I was like, yeah. I was like, we thinking about, we trying, we kind of, but And then I remember she was either the first or the second person I called when I found out. And I remember literally just saying, Shanika. And she knew. Like she bust out crying, and she was like, oh my God. So all my friends were so happy for me. I mean, it brings tears to my eyes, because they knew like how much I wanted to be a mom. Yeah. You know what I mean? And just for so many years feeling like it just wasn't going to happen for me, especially after the divorce, just kind of like, I like being an aunt. And if that's just what it's going to be, then I've certainly had a pivotal role, in my nieces, you know what I'm saying, life. But like, I really, really wanted that, and I think, and then when we decided to get married, I just sent out a message, and it just said, it was just a card, and it just said, Lillian and Reggie, May 20th.
Oh my God.
And I purposely just sent it, and I put my phone away. Like, they were calling.
Oh my God, they definitely was calling.
And so when I, picked the phone back up, they're like, what is this? Are you doing? You getting married? And so they're like, do we need to go get dresses? And I was like, no.
Yes.
No, we did that. No, and I appreciated them even wanting to, you know what I mean, show up and love and support me in that way. And I was like, nah, like, this is not that. Yeah. Like, I just want y'all to be there. I want y'all to be front and center for this moment. But yeah, it's just.
This reminds me of Sex in the City. It reminds me of Sex in the City, how her big, I don't know why it reminds me of that, but in the beginning, the first one, they was going to have this huge wedding. And then she was like, nah, like in her mind, because she had set in her mind, this is what I want.
This is what it's supposed to be.
She adopted that narrative. This is what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be this real big thing. And then when it really got down to it, she was like, courthouse.
Big played a lot, though.
Big was
played too much.
Why would Big do that?
Big played too much.
Big played the entire 20 years we watched Sex in the City. He played the entire
up until that man died.
Up until he died.
Big ain't never stopped.
Big ain't stopped playing with Carrie.
Yeah, I don't know about Carrie.
The entire time.
I can't even talk about the new Sex. Do you watch the new one?
I watched it. The new one is wild. Like, it doesn't feel good without Samantha. If you knew
what Carrie was doing right now, it's so outrageous. It's so outrageous.
What you mean?
She's back with Aiden.
Wait, no. Okay, hold on.
She's back.
You talking about And Just Like That?
Yes.
Okay, yes, I've watched that. But it's hard for me to watch because Samantha is not there.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to watch.
It's hard for me to watch because the season finale, hopefully everyone has seen it by now. I don't want to do any spoilers, but she is back with Aiden. They reconnect. They're so in love. And then he tells her, like, just wait 5 years. I want to get my kids off to school. Like, something very silly. Kerr, you are every bit of 55. Please. Tell this man to lose your... And she is, like, considering it. And I want to say maybe she even, like, She moved out of her apartment.
Apartment?
She moved out of the apartment. She went and got this new place with the intention of like him moving there, and apparently like his kids.
But you know what, Aiden? Let me tell you something about Aiden. Aiden has always he's always been very honest with Carrie, honest to a part that it was just like almost like cringy, like God damn, I can't even fuck with him. He just
I couldn't believe, and she's considering, and I feel like that was the end of it. Like, I think that was the season finale.
Carrie loses herself when she gets in relationships.
Yeah.
She really loses herself when she gets into
but
relationships.
That's women do it.
Yes, she loses herself when she gets into relationships.
And just like you're saying, it's like, you Carrie Bradshaw.
You are Carrie fucking Bradshaw.
Funny, and you send a P, this man talking about he going back to his ranch for 5 years. Aiden, go on about your business. Go on about your business. You wouldn't even be able to reach me. Don't call and tell me nothing stupid when I'm 55 years old.
55, Carrie, please. I cannot. Carrie loses her fucking self when she gets into relationships. Big played with Carrie, Lil, for 20. We watched this man play with this lady
for years.
And that's so crazy because I was like, be with
we
Big.
Still want her to be with him. Yeah.
And that motherfucker played for 20. Well, now that we're older and we look back at it, it's like,
Carrie, you were wildin'.
Yeah. Miranda knew though. If nobody knew, Miranda knew that don't fuck with Big. Please. Miranda said don't leave her alone.
Yeah.
Miranda
right. She said something to him.
Come, right? She was the reason that he didn't come because her and Steve was
going through it.
Okay. This has been so good. Thank you so much, Lil, for coming. Please let people know how they can get in touch with you, what you got going on.
You can follow the book page, 10 Dates Later, 10 Dates Later. My personal page, which is really just an RJ fan page, is just Lil with 2 underscores. And, I'm hoping to have some other things coming out. So stay tuned.
Yes.
Hopefully I'll be dropping some announcements soon.
Yes, y'all. And please follow 10 Dates Later. And please go get it. Is it on Amazon?
Yes.
It's on Amazon.
It's still on Amazon.
It's still on Amazon. It's so good. 10 Days Later was literally, I read it in 2 hours. It was so funny. I'll never forget. It was just so good. And I think I texted you after like, what the fuck? This is great. I remember saying, you need to make this into a series because it was so good. And at one point you were trying to get with
I know. I didn't have the vision that I have like now for it. You know what I mean? Like it was always just my goal to just write the book. I never thought or even dreamed beyond that point. You know what I'm saying? So, but we'll see.
Yeah, I see it being bigger.
It's never too late.
It's never too late. I see it being bigger. Y'all, thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for helping me to grow this community. Thank you for inviting me into your community and you into mine. I appreciate you all so much. Please continue to like, share, comment, review, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Mwah. Healing doesn't have an expiration date. You have to keep working on it. You can't grow and continue to live the life of a trash person. It's just not going to work. I don't know where I would be without God. I'm being honest. Like, yeah, I curse a lot, but I don't know where I would be without God. I truly get it. I mean, I empathize with you. I just feel like I wouldn't have done it that way.